Most game mechanics they disappear with time, quick time events, motion controls, even cover shooters slowly fade away. But one mechanic refused to die over the decades. It's called slow motion, or like more specifically you can call it bullet time in the games. It's been more than 20 years that developers have, they keep reinventing this thing in more and more creative ways. Sometimes it made games cinematic, sometimes it made them tactical, and sometimes it became the whole game in itself. But here's what's really fascinating. Bullet time wasn't just, another cool feature in the game. It completely changed how action games were designed, and chances are your favorite shooter, like today, your favorite shooter that you're playing still carries that DNA. Hello everyone, my name is Shami and you're watching how bullet time changed the gaming forever. Okay, so before the late 90s, most shooter games rewarded only one thing, and that one thing was reaction speed. You can check Doom, Quake, Unreal, Half-Life, all of these games, everything was about moving faster. Shooting fast, thinking faster. If you hesitated, you basically die. The core idea of excitement back then was speed. Developers wanted action to feel more exciting. And it was not just games, Hollywood wanted the same things. But there was a problem. The faster something moves, the harder it is to appreciate. Just think about it. You don't admire an explosion when it's just half a second long in a movie that you're watching. You barely notice a perfectly choreographed gunfight. But then the Hong Kong cinema, they changed everything. John Woo, a filmmaker from Hong Kong, actually a highly influential figure in the action film genre. He have a lot of masterpieces, but one of the movie Hard Boiled and another one A Better Tomorrow, his slow motion shoutouts weren't just they weren't just stylish. They allowed audience to actually admire every movement, every dive, every bullet, every explosion. Hollywood actually noticed all of these things. These movies were amazing. The idea, the style was very unique. Soon after, we saw slow motion scenes in Matrix that came out in 1999. The famous rooftop scene, Neo is, bending backwards, dodging the bullets. And the camera work on that scene was also outstanding. The cameras were rotating around, frozen action and everything. We know this scene is extremely famous. Suddenly, slow motion wasn't just a visual effect. It became like a part of the pop culture itself. People loved those scenes, but movies could only let you watch it. Games were about to let you control it. And one developer, he realized, what if players could become the action hero? What if they become the Neo themselves? Okay, after all of this, we have Max Payne. Max Payne didn't invent the bullet time. Many people think Max Payne copied it from the Matrix, but this is partially true, because Remedy Entertainment had already been developing Max Payne before the Matrix release. The game's biggest influence came from Hong Kong films, not from the Matrix. But here's one thing, the timing was simply perfect. The Matrix made everyone obsessed with slow motion, and Max Payne made everyone play it. The question should be why it worked, because games and cinema is very different things. Bullet time wasn't just cosmetic, it solved gameplay problems in real time. Instead of making combat easier, it made combat more expressive. Like players could dive sideways, line up headshots, they could avoid bullets, and basically feel like they were choreographing their own action movie. For the first time, a movie style became a gameplay, and gamers loved it. Back in those days, Max Payne became one of the defining shooters of its generation. But what happened next was even bigger. The whole gaming industry was about to change. Developers everywhere started asking, what if our game had the bullet time in it? And of course, every studio wanted their own version. Various game development studios picked up this idea really quickly. We have F.E.A.R. F.E.A.R, it didn't use slow motion just for style, it made enemy AI feel smarter. Enemies flanked you, used cover, kicked over furniture. So basically slow motion gave players just enough breathing room to survive. So now John Woo's stranglehold basically turned every fight into an action movie. Sliding across tables, swinging on rails, destroying entire environments. It wasn't realistic, it was pure spectacle. Okay, so then Red Dead Redemption 2 came out out from Rockstar. Rockstar basically transformed bullet time into Deadeye. Every shot mattered in Red Dead Redemption. Instead of acrobatics, you basically become a legendary gunslinger. Gunfights were transformed to really cinematic duels. They completely reimagined movements. Instead of slowing down the world, player basically they blasted around battlefields at incredible speed before triggering slow motion for precision. Another honorable mention would be Quantum Break. Remedy returned to its roots, but this time bullet time became an actual story mechanic. Time itself became the enemy. Then most favorite game of mine would be Super Hot. I finished this game like probably 4 or 5 times. This is an outstanding game. If you haven't played it, go check it out. I swear to God, this must be the most smartest evolution of all in this category. Time only moved when you moved. So bullet time was no longer an ability, it became the entire game basically. After all this time and these games, there was a major transition in the industry. That's when the developers they realized something and they did something different. So they stopped treating bullet time as a gimmick and it became a design philosophy. It became the basic, very basic thing in the games. Okay, so bullet time was not always about combat, it changed more than that. Most people think bullet time simply made games cooler, but it did much more than that. It changed pacing basically. Developers could suddenly create impossible action sequences without overwhelming players. It also changed storytelling. Games could create memorable cinematic movement, and without taking control away from the players, it changed difficulty. Instead of lowering enemy numbers, developers could throw even more chaos at players. Because bullet time gave them the tools to survive, it also changed player psychology. Think about it, when everything slows down, your brain doesn't panic because your brain knows that it has more time to plan, to predict the enemy movement. You aren't reacting anymore, and that tiny shift is really powerful for players. And that's exactly why bullet time has survived for over 2 decades now. Because it doesn't just make games easier, it makes players feel smarter, it brings a lot to the table. Another question would be why bullet time never died after all this time. Because in the gaming industry, mechanics they come and go. A lot of mechanics they just disappear. Motion controls, rhythm based combat, quick time events, even cover shooters lost popularity. Bullet time didn't. It has been here and it's still here. Because the developers they realized it could fit almost any genre. Shooter, action games, hack and slash, whether it's stealth, open world, VR. Even indie games still they do experiments with this thing. About Katana Zero, My Friend Pedro, Super Hot, Trapang 2. Every generation keeps finding new ways to reinvent the idea. The mechanics they keep on evolving, not because it's flashy, but because it solves real game problems. It gives players control during chaos, and that's timeless, to be honest. The funny thing is that bullet time was never really about slowing time, it was always about changing perspectives. For a few seconds, developers they let us see combat in a different and transformed way. They transformed panic into precision, chaos into choreography. What started as a cinematic trick became one of the most influential mechanics gaming has ever seen. So today, whether you are activating Deadeye in Red Dead Redemption, freezing enemies in Quantum Break, dodging bullets in Super Hot, or diving through the air in Max Payne, you are playing with the legacy of one of the most simple ideas. Slow everything down and let the player become the hero. This was the basic core idea. And maybe that's why the bullet time has survived for more than 20 years, not because it's realistic, not because it's revolutionary anymore, but because no matter how many times you have seen it, diving through the air while bullets fly inches from your face still makes us feel like the coolest person in the room. And that's it for today. Time slows down, legends don't. And thank you for watching. Thank you.